Let me push it through. Let's push it through. Come on now. All right, I think we're live. We are live. Let me make sure. We're live. Hello, my loves. Thank you so much for being on another edition of TTSS Thursdays. If this is your first time joining, if you're on YouTube, thank you so much for joining. Subscribe to my channel, listening to the podcast, however you got here. I appreciate it. My name is Lauren Denise. I am the host of This Too Shall Suck podcast, where we talk about the real of grief, the whole grief, and nothing but the grief. And I am joined here today with the magnificent Justen DeBowles. I'm gonna say it wrong. I'm gonna say it wrong, Justen. I do it every time. Justen DeBowles. I said it right. Yes. Justen DeBowles. He was on episode 2, which is titled Coronavirus is Getting Real. And we talked about all things COVID-19. And I'm going to continue to say COVID-19. So if my friend Quabina is watching, do not try and play me because he always tries to play me and says I'm above everyone else because I say COVID instead of coronavirus. So whatever, Quabina, if you're watching. But I was asking people, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I am monitoring on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So if you see me looking up, I promise I'm listening, Justen. I'm just like, you already know. Right. You already know how it goes. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you have my number, I guess you can text them to me, but preferably, just follow directions, you guys. Um, but Justin, thank you again so much. Number one, for coming on episode 2. So many people text me and were just talking about how much you bless them and how you help them in this situation. Because, like we talked about, this is just a weird situation that we're in. And I posted something yesterday talking about anticipatory grief, and it's that grief of the unknown and what's to come next, and knowing that there's something bad out there, but you don't know what it is. And that's exactly what COVID-19 is. It's this virus, this unknown thing we can't see. People coughing, apparently you can get it. It's on surfaces. Like you just don't know what's going on. Um, you We're just rolling with it, and news is changing every single day. And so, one day it's cool to wear a mask, next day it's not. There, I just saw, and I don't know again how true it is, but I saw about the guidelines about school. So I don't have you seen those guidelines of right. Right. And your wife is a teacher. Like, how does she feel about that? Have y'all, I mean, again, they just came out yesterday, but how is, I can't imagine how teachers feel about that. Like, have you all talked about how she feels about that? Uh oh. Hold on. Okay. Can't hear Justin. Oh, no. Can't hear Justin. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. Where you at, Justin? Hold on, guys. Where we at? Where Justin at? Okay. Sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. Justin, say something. Technology, y'all. It's the absolute worst. Thanks, y'all, for letting me know. I'm going to figure out. Right. I'm like, can y'all hear him now? Can somebody let me know if y'all hear him now? Can y'all hear him? Oh, wait. All right. Hold on. Let's see.
Come on, microphone, come through. Otherwise, I'm gonna switch to my other one. Testing, testing. Are you all able to make sure that you all can actually hear me? Someone just actually texted me and said no. Well, oh, someone said yes. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, someone just texted me now saying they can. Okay. Um. Hmm. Oh, most dead. Look, Murphy's law. What can will. What definitely can will. Yep. Someone just texted me that. So while you getting that squared away, look, let me let everyone know that teachers are very much teachers have laughed a lot at these new guidelines for opening the schools. It was not. I don't think they asked too many teachers before they released that because realistically, it's not really a solution. It just kind of seems like people are rushing to open things. So let's
All
see.
right. So maybe we'll be good. Okay. All right, guys. I think I got it.
Yeah, because I hear you
Can
great.
y'all hear us? Right. Can y'all hear us both? Yay! We good now.
Okay, great. See,
Technology, y'all.
we figured it out on the first
You
question. You know,
You on the first, thank y'all for letting me know like up front, and we not in, and we're like, all you see is my hands, and I'm
right?
talking my hands, so I'm trying to like keep them down here, you guys, keep them down here. Yay! Okay, so basically, the first question I asked, if you weren't here or you couldn't hear Justin, I asked him about the CDC guidelines
Mm-hmm.
of the schools, these ridiculous guidelines of them reopening schools obviously after summer break, and his wife is a teacher, so I asked him, had they had conversation about it, because I've only seen parents being like, yeah, all right, like, and a lot of parents talking about actually homeschooling their kids. um I don't know, so that's why I wanted to see like essentially what your wife was saying, and if you've had any conversations with other teachers or
Mm-hmm.
anybody, any parents, talking to you about the idea of their kids going to this new normal school.
They're not. The idea of homeschooling all the kids. That sounds good, but a lot of parents, as you can already see, are really kind of fed up with being cooped up
Sick of their kids,
throughout most
single
of the spring semester. So there's not a rush to homeschool from what people that I've talked to at all know.
Yeah, yeah. I had my cousin said it freaks me out if I homeschool, she'll fail.
That too. I've seen a lot of first social media has been funny throughout this whole thing. I've seen some
Yeah.
interesting posts about parents now getting B's in third grade math. You know, it's been tough. It's been tough.
Listen, this Common Core, I if I don't carry the one or I got the little house, I don't know what this new age
Not
math
happening.
is.
I do not know how to do. I do not know how to do this new math. I only know what I was taught back in the '90s. Just being honest.
Listen, period. I'm like, does it go in the house and then you carry it over and then you subtract and then you keep
Right.
carrying it over? Because if it's anything other than that, yeah, you gonna fail. I'm not. I ain't auntie of the year. I'm listening to you, Justin. I swear. I'm just going back and forth.
No, I love it.
Um,
It's fine.
it's not you. It's my technology. But I think I shared with you a little bit before we got on here. I've talked to some people who are struggling with the isolation of it all,
Hmm.
and I know right now we're going through the reopening of states, and that's a so you have the isolation piece of it, right? When we were like having to be shelter in place, and then you have the other spectrum of now we're reopening and people are able to go outside, and so you have this kind of battle,
Hmm.
or of the people who go outside versus the people who are like stay at home, which I am a I told you, a strict quarantiner. I just
Mm-hmm.
went to my friend's house and she was laughing at me because I had my mask on. I keep Lysol wipes and Lysol spray. And when I walk to her house, I spray myself down with Lysol, like acting like a complete psycho, right? And then I'm seeing people out in public and I'm like, oh, these people are in public, they don't have a mask on, right? But that goes back to those people who put themselves in isolation because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, like, what do you say to those people who have to be in isolation? So the older crowd and the immune suppressant, like, how do they deal with that now, especially since it's reopening and they have the option to go outside? Like, how do you deal with that?
It was interesting. We talked about how the isolation can kind of mimic grief at the loss of your freedoms throughout most of the lockdown, most of the quarantine. But now with them kind of forcing people to open back up, it's brought an entirely new set of emotions, and most people are getting very, very anxious.
Mm,
So you're looking at people who have been trying their best to stay safe, and now they're being faced with, well, now my job is opening back up. So I have to go to work or I have to start doing things again. So I'm noticing a lot of people just kind of wanted the option to do things. And that's what made the quarantine and the lockdown so unbearable. Is like, people don't want to go everywhere. They just want the option to know they can. Um,
that's good.
but now people are getting essentially forced to start going back to work and everything. And so obviously you don't see the numbers trailing off. We're still
Right.
climbing, but you're telling me to go outside and go do things. And so now it went from that isolation to now I'm scared. You want me to
Mm.
put myself in danger just for the sake of what? So you can get a haircut. Yeah, no.
Getting your hair done.
So
My sister watching getting your eyelashes done.
props to the people that can actually that have that choice. They can stay inside and like I'm still gonna work from home. But like my mother has been terrified throughout this whole thing. And I think she has to go to work Tuesday.
Oh wow.
She contemplated retirement.
Wow.
Right. She's like, I
Oh,
just
that's
want to
weird.
retire and not go back to work. So it's the emotions that people feel surrounding this whole thing are very much real.
Right.
Very much real. So you were mentioning how the people like to fight back and forth online. You better stay indoors and you better open up.
Right.
Everyone's feeling a rush of emotion. Some people are running from isolation. Some people are running from getting infected. Um, but everyone's dealing with that same anxiety. I want to tell people to be understanding, but at the same time, you don't have to. Every fight isn't your fight.
Mm.
If anything,
Yeah.
if my next door neighbor decides they want to go out and do everything and throw a whole barbecue in the front yard, that's fine. Just don't come on my yard. You know,
Social distance over there.
you know what I mean? Like you don't
Just
have to engage in a lot of the things if you don't want to. It's okay. It's okay to sit on the other side and say, nah, I'm gonna stay inside. And
okay.
you don't have to
That's
argue with people online, guys. You don't. Just please stop doing that. Please detach.
it's not an East Coast West Coast battle, y'all. I promise
It's
you. Ain't
not.
nobody crip walking around here
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just that's why and you say that. Again, this is for myself. I had to learn that because I'm like, oh, these people are going outside, y'all be disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know if my cousin's watching, but like me and her were like going back and forth because I'm like, girl, you about to go outside and do what? Go get your hair done, go get a burger. Like, I just did not I couldn't fathom why
Right.
you would want to go out when the news is changing every day. And she posed a great question of when is it okay to open back up the economy or your state or whatever? And I explained to her, again, my opinion is when the news stops changing every day
That's
and when
fair.
the numbers actually decrease. But now we're seeing in the news, and I try not to watch the news as much because it's just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're seeing that there's a new wave that might be coming because they're opening back up these states.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And so, yeah, so it's just like you said, all these feelings of emotion, we have these one emotions. Like we have the emotions of, okay, we're stuck inside, we have isolation. Now, like you said, there's another wave of emotions. And then do you foresee another wave of emotions coming? Like once we kind of realize that this may be our new normal for a while?
Mm-hmm. People are struggling to accept what's coming with this. I talked to a good friend of mine on the way to my office today, And she was just real about it. She said, Justin, I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. She was like, and I said, that doesn't like get rid of it, but I feel you. It's, we're tired of it. But I said at some point we've got to learn how to accept that some mix of what was and what is now that's our new normal. That's where we're going to be now. Mask may be the new thing. They're about to be fashion items at this point. It is what it is.
So somebody made a comment that said, I'm scared financially. So because of course, a lot of people are losing their job every week. My brother worked at a restaurant. He got laid off and his restaurant is closed. Like they couldn't bounce back. Yeah. So how do those people who are scared financially because they may or may not get their job back, or, these companies are on hiring freezes, how do they kind of combat that? I can't sit here and tell you like, oh, you're going to get a job or you should do this. Like, right. How do they deal with that?
Right. I mean, the very real reality of that is the job market right now is kind of all over the place. And the only guaranteed, if you want to say guaranteed jobs that anyone can just run out and get right now, chances are may be something that's makes less than what they probably were used to. So you're looking at pay cuts, you're looking at, a significant loss of income that a lot of people are dealing with. And that breeds a lot of fear. And that fear is real. So to that person, I would tell them, first off, what you're feeling is very much validated. I completely understand where you're coming from. So if there's anyone around you that's kind of telling you not to feel that way or that you shouldn't be scared or A, B, C, and D, that's not realistic. There's definitely some fear associated with this. This is a big change. And then I also trust that person is doing what they can to try to financially support themselves and their family or whatever the situation may be. And, there really is no wrong answer in this. You're really just trying to figure it out as you go along and do the best you can. So for example, if that person is staring at loss of income, but they're also dealing with crippling anxiety, so they're not really moving at that moment, that's understandable. They may want to address that anxiety before they go out and try to find another job instead of forcing themselves to get out there and try something where mentally they're not invested. They're not there.
Yeah.
Because if you send out a broken man or woman to try to create something and do something, chances are they're going to break. And that never looks good.
Justin over here speaking
Stop
to y'all.
Stop making faces.
I'm like, well. You didn't want to hear that, Sasha? She said, I know that's right.
I'm sorry.
So good. No, she said so good.
Oh.
She said so good. I was like, woo! Yep. Well, look, I was like, snatch my wig. What else was I going to ask? Oh my God. Somebody sent me something. Hey, Candace, oh gosh, I got to find the question that they sent me. Oh, we talked about it in the podcast. So something we talked about in the podcast is about if you're being single, because I shared with you, like, I'm single. I was on Bumble. People are crazy. And you said, like, don't date right now. But you have those people who, again, this is conversations that I've had based on our conversation of, well, I don't want to be lonely, Lauren. Like, and this is right now because it is a weird time and we can't necessarily like hang out or see each other or have that. Sorry, Auntie, if you're watching, if you can't be having sex and there's not that other piece involved, like, this is the perfect time. Like, we can just talk on the phone and really get to know each other. But you're like, no.
If I can, let me elaborate. I definitely don't want to tell everyone just sit at home by yourself. That wasn't exactly what I meant with that.
Single Sally.
What I meant is try not to make any long-term permanent decisions during this awkward time right now. So, if you're vibing with somebody, you got good conversations going, then just continue the good conversations and everything. But would I recommend that you make the move would I recommend that you make some significant relationship steps with somebody throughout this? Probably not. Because things are everything's kind of up in the air right now. So I'm not saying don't talk to nobody, nothing. If you form a connection, great. But
Right.
understand that people are dealing with a lot of different emotions as a result of this. And once this is all done, things could change. So that's what I mean when I say that, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to just sit at home
Sit home
and be
bored.
by yourself. That's not what I mean
Right.
with that, guys.
Right. Don't be dating nobody.
Yeah, just be careful. Again, people are bored. People are looking for something to distract them. You have probably heard from somebody that you haven't heard from in a very, very, very long time.
Somebody, several,
So if you want to
several.
engage in conversations, that's fine. I'm not saying don't talk to people, but let's not jump into a whole new boyfriend, girlfriend engagement, something like that, until we start to get some normalcy back to our life.
No, that's real.
That's
a
what I
real
mean when I
statement.
say that, guys. Oh Lord, I hope people didn't think I
I
wanted them
know.
to be just at home
Listen.
lonely, man.
Right. Right. Look, somebody said WYD text. I can't stand when somebody hits me with WYD. You are not about to WYD me to death. Okay. Please, 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 please. Oh, this is a good one. So someone asked, what are we telling kids who should be having the time of their life, like prom,
Oh
graduation, college?
yeah.
How are we addressing those kids?
Yeah, I thought about that. I actually thought about that today, because my wife went up to the school and seniors are coming by to pick up diplomas, and they couldn't really like hug the kids, take pictures with their kids. So yeah, my heart goes out to the kids that can't have graduations. They can't have prom. The I mean, there's nothing that anyone can really say to ease the pain of that. What I would hope is that their support network, their family, their friends, that once this, I say it's done as best as it can be,
Same.
that you all really come together and throw these kids something pretty big.
Good.
They've had the idea of the drive-bys with the cars honking. As funny as it is, I love that. I
I
love that
know.
because it really gives that kid their time to shine, to celebrate their graduation. I really hate for the prom situation with the high school seniors, but I would like for those kids to really have one big get together, either at the next homecoming next year or something, to really honor
That's
those
good.
kids, because they need something. They need something. My heart definitely goes out to them. If those children, if you have any seniors or anything like that, and they're sad because they couldn't do a birthday party, they couldn't do their graduation, their prom, their celebrations. That sadness is very, very real. Just do whatever you can to let them know that they're loved. You're proud of them for their accomplishments, and as soon as you being in their support network are able, give them something special. They deserve it. They really do.
Yeah.
They worked hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I love that idea. So if there's any event planners on there, I do events.
Yeah.
That would be like a really nice thing to get with all of the seniors and create, like you said, a big prom situation for
Yep.
them. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful idea. So someone asked, what about grandparents that can't see their grandchildren?
That's tough. That's tough too. You all with the questions, man. These are
Listen,
yeah,
we ready. I told him, I said it's Talk to a Therapist Thursday. Everybody was
yeah.
like, yes.
Um, and the hardest part about this question is because grandparents are really struck. If you've ever really tried to give your grandparent an iPad or a phone to try to FaceTime them regularly, you know just how
Right.
hard that is. Right. You're going to be looking at them like this the whole time. It gets difficult. I've seen people. Am I the only one who's all grandparents have that glass door at their house? Y'all know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
the one in front of the door.
put the grandchildren up on the glass door. Just hold them up there. But just let them see them visibly somehow, if that's possible. If physical contact isn't an option, try to find some sort of solution. A lot of times we stop finding solutions because we're so shocked and sad at the current state of affairs, and it's kind of stifles our creative process. But if we really sit down and think about it, besides video calls, if they're close enough for you to stop by, pull up in that driveway, honk the horn, let them just come to the door. Really use that 6 feet recommendation to the best you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen something I saw it, I believe it was on Facebook. And again, you have to be very creative to do this, but
That's
they
true.
took some, I think was it PVC pipe, and they have like a literal like plastic thing where they can stick their arms through so the grandma can hug the grandkids.
Do what you
Like
do. Do
creative.
what you do.
Creative. So what do you say to, so we'll kind of stay on that route.
Hmm.
What about those moms and newborns? Because what is it? Postpartum is real,
Yes.
and there's a lot of moms who are having babies, so they have to go through that. Like, how do you, again, because they don't, maybe the grandparents can't come or they can't be around, like how do they even deal with that, especially if you're a single mother? I can't imagine, you don't have that support system of a father being there. So how do you,
You
what do
you
you
said
tell to them in that
you said the
situation?
2 words I'm going to harp on, and my
Support
goal is to
network.
have everybody have some type of support network that can be around them, even if it's not directly in person. But postpartum is something that I would imagine is extraordinarily hard to go through on your own. And for the women that have gone through that, my guess is that they have definitely had somebody nearby or surround or around them to help them make it through. So I really would like people to take a lot of this time to really hone in on who is your actual support network, in a way so that as you're dealing with these difficult emotions, you're going to need somebody that you can talk to about them.
Hmm.
Because again, without that, you're staring at isolation in the face, and that never feels
Yeah,
good. That never feels
absolutely.
good. So yeah, to the single mothers that just had kids, I mean, if you don't have that support network already, then I would encourage them to get on Facebook and things and look for those groups of people that they can just talk to.
That's good.
Because
Yeah.
talking to people in those groups will yield to private conversations with the people that you get along with in those groups, which could hopefully turn into, group video calls of you all just seeing and supporting one another. It helps a lot.
That's good. That's really good. So I've talked to some people as well who are in co-parenting relationships,
Fun.
and right, it can go either way. Okay.
Yep.
So how do you, and especially in this climate, excuse me, because there's always something going on with. I'm trying to, y'all hold on. I'm trying to see y'all.
They're
Like
talking like
I'm
that.
trying to see everybody. Yeah, I'm like, wait, y'all. I'm trying to see your comments. Everyone stop. Like I'm like trying to write it down. I'm like, wait. So those people who, co-parenting, if it's not a good situation, because there is some great co-parenting situations, but for the people who have co-parenting situations and they're disagreeing, for example, one parent wants to keep the baby or put the baby back in daycare right now because the daycares are
Mm,
doing a lot and they're sanitizing. And I've had my friends who've had their babies in daycare the whole time and been totally fine. But then you have the other parent who doesn't, right? Like how in this, again, this is a different type of climate. The courts aren't open, so you can't go to mediation. You can't do all those things. So how do you even, and maybe it's the support network, how do you
mhm.
suggest them to move forward and create a healthy situation in this situation right now?
I think, some of the people with the lesser end of the stick are probably not going to like this answer, because it definitely it's not support network. Though you probably will need to lean on them. Um, Guys, one thing we have got to have throughout this whole thing, and it's I almost hate to say it, but there's got to be some degree of understanding.
You see me looking
If
over
you're
here?
in a right, if you're in a bad situation, and it's gonna if, in the co-parenting situation, it's gonna end in mediation. Then let that be the plan of action as soon as there's some sense of normalcy. But you can't necessarily force the courts to have the mediation, and continuing to cause friction between you and the child's mother or father only serves to make the waters even more muddy. So, I mean, it's extremely unfortunate, and I'm not trying to overlook anybody when I say that, but there's got to be some degree of understanding throughout this whole process. I mean, things aren't normal and things aren't fair right now.
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. I told you this is. Y'all are typing quick. Y'all are typing quickly.
They're really putting this stuff out there. Okay.
Listen, Sasha, you said you had a comment, but I didn't see it. It said something about Georgia. Please retype it. I'm sorry, y'all. This
Hmm.
y'all are going so quick. First of all, thank y'all for being on and thank y'all for being active. Justin's like,
Yeah.
listen, I gave you 20
No, no,
minutes.
no. I'm here. I'm here.
I think your wife is on. Monica, if you are on,
Yeah,
thank you for
she's
letting
in
me
there.
use your
So
husband. Thank you for
she
letting me
she's
borrow
in
your
there.
husband for a second, girl.
She knows who I am. So yeah, I'm
Look,
been right
girl,
here.
thank you. Appreciate you. And shout out to you for being a teacher. I told Justin y'all are superheroes, period, point blank.
I don't argue with
Um,
him.
li- listen. This is a good one. Ooh. What and we kind of touched on this, Janine. I didn't know if you saw it at first, but what about people who insist on going out and going to gatherings and things like that, and they kind of have to be around you?
Yeah.
How do you even deal with that? If they're like, nope, I want to go out and do whatever, and they have to come home to you, I would freak out. But
Those are some difficult conversations, man. Those are some difficult conversations. That is when I would really encourage people to start working on their boundaries. With that, doesn't matter who that person is in your life, start working on those boundaries, guys. Because again, I have friends who I would love to see, and some of them are determined to continue to go to barbecues and get-togethers and all of that. And those are the ones that get me through FaceTime. Sorry, you're not gonna, guys. I have two small children. I'm not gonna go to the cookout. Not gonna go to the get-together. I'm not. You know, I'm not. I'm gonna play it safe. And I'm not going to judge you for what you want to do, but I'm going to have my boundaries set as far as in how I'm going to deal with that, how I'm going to deal with you. It doesn't mean there's anything against you. It's just your choice and my choice are different. And in this moment, because we have different choices, that means I'm going to be over here, you're going to be over here. And that's okay. Doesn't mean I don't like you, love you all the same, but yeah, we're gonna be apart for a while. And after your 2 weeks quarantine, or things are back normal, then I'll dap you up. But until then, no, 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 no.
yeah,
But if anything, guys, work on those boundaries. Set and enforce those boundaries. You may be able to actually get through to somebody that's doing something that you may not like by actually stating true and consistent with the boundaries that you set. That's in quarantine, COVID, and everything else in life. Set your boundaries.
period.
Yeah.
Period. And I love that. So, plug next week's episode is about boundaries.
Oh, there
It's
you
a whole
go.
episode about boundaries.
Yep.
And so that's good that you touched on that because I think it's really important and especially now, but in the grieving process to create boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't respect them, it's okay for you to remove yourself from them. It's
Correct.
okay for you to move forward. That doesn't mean you don't love them any less or that you hate them, but you have to respect you before because if you don't respect you, who's going to respect you,
That's it.
right?
That's it
You got to
exactly.
respect self.
That's it
Yeah,
exactly.
you have to respect self. So I think that's wonderful. And I guess this kind of piggybacks off of the co-parenting question,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you've seen this a lot. There's some men who are not able to see their kids because of the moms who are like, I don't know, whatever the reason is. I've never understood why people use kids
Mm.
like why they use kids to be at war with each other. Um, but in this situation, you talked about understanding. How do you reach out or get to that mother who is not allowing this man to see their child, especially in this situation when it's so wild? And it's like, I just want to make sure my son or daughter or whoever is okay.
So for anyone that can see me, the faces I'm making right now, that's a
Yeah,
while I'm not dealing with that situation, just quick background in the mental health field is there's a large disparity of women to men, probably like a 90-10 kind of situation. But
oh well.
I consider myself a bit of a champion for men. Understand when I say that I don't ever down women when I say that. It's just more so I try to really be supportive of men, and that's a topic that I talk about pretty often. Oh, how to get through to the woman. Mm. That's a mediation type situation right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you haven't, if no one has gotten through to her, and I'll be fair, this I will just say the stubborn parent. I'm not going to just hone on women. How to get through to that stubborn parent? I would recommend the person go to mediation and get the courts involved in some kind of way so that you have guaranteed visitation with your child. which during quarantine may be difficult to do, obviously. So for the parent that's getting the short end of the stick, that's the one that, again, I would really want their network. I want them to really surround themselves with as many people as they can that really uplift them and see the value in them. Because when you are a parent without a child, without the ability to see your child, have access to your child, that plays on the mind as if you are an inept parent in some way, shape, or form. So I would want that person to be surrounded by encouragers up until that point to where they can finally go to mediation and like, get the rights to see their child. I have a good friend of mine who's a therapist who actually took himself to court and put himself on child support, but he knew that would guarantee his ability to see his child without all the other politics that come along with that.
That's true. Yeah.
So sometimes very real decisions have to be made.
Yeah, that's true. So a lot of people, y'all serious about this co-parenting? I think Justin hit it on the head, is just creating those boundaries. And I think you still can create those boundaries in co-parenting and understanding to say, like, if one parent, the stubborn parent, is out in these streets and like, oh, like, I'm not wearing a mask, but you want to come around and see your child, maybe to say, hey, listen, like, what you're doing,
right.
Live your life how you need to live your life. But our child is what's most important. And I don't want to put them in danger because you choose to live a different lifestyle that I think is copacetic for our child. So I think to the person who's asking about the co-parenting, it is, like Justin said, having those healthy boundaries and just having some understanding. And maybe that parent will get some understanding if you just kind of say, hey.
I would advise them to very much communicate those boundaries as well in the most effective way they can. That's the best way I can say. The most effective way that they can. If it puts, and I would challenge both parents to examine why you're saying no. If it is a safety risk, cool. If it's just him or her doing something that you don't agree with, come on, guys. If it's a safety risk, they're out there doing all kind of things that they could possibly bring the virus home. Totally understand. But if they're trying to practice safety and they're actually they're following a straight and narrow and they're doing the right thing, then I'd ask for understanding from both sides.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge both sides. That's one thing about me. I don't take sides.
That's good because it took two people to make that.
Correct.
I always say it took two of y'all to lay up and make that baby.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Ain't nobody Mother Mary out here, and ain't nobody Virgin Mary getting pregnant by Jesus. Cut it out. I'm sorry, y'all. Ooh, this is a good one. So somebody asked about the political climate in Georgia and in the nation. So of course, I'm sure. Justin, you went missing. Y'all. Hold on. Justin went missing. Hold on, y'all. Justin went missing. Where'd he go? Hold on, y'all. Justin went missing on me. But thank y'all for watching. Right. How you feel about it?
No.
There he is. Okay. Hold on. I gotta have him back. Woo! Okay, I think we're back.
Can everyone hear me okay?
I said, y'all getting on Justin's nerves, okay?
My computer, because I hadn't touched my computer in a while, the thing went in sleep mode. I'm sorry, y'all. You were asking about the political climate.
Sick of y'all. Okay, can y'all hear Justin? Let me make sure that they can.
Yeah, make sure you can hear me.
Can y'all look? Everybody said y'all done ran them off. Can y'all hear
If
him now and see him? That is so funny.
y'all, if that is not a perfect example of my sense of humor, I am that guy that in the middle of a serious conversation might fall down some stuff. That's me to a T. Um,
Can y'all see? Can y'all wait? Let me make sure. Okay, everybody
right.
here? We good? Justin, they done ran y'all, Justin. Said, I'm tired of y'all, okay? Ain't nobody paid
Oh,
for no therapy session up in here.
that is too funny. You you asked about the political climate, huh?
Political climate, because we
Okay.
have seen, with the Ahmaud Arbery case and all the
Oh
things
yeah.
that are, yeah, all the things that are happening around the world, the nation. That's, again, another layer that you have to add on top of this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't even know if the question is how do you combat that? Because I think this is something we've been dealing with for a long time, and it's just unfortunately for I'm going to talk about this on one of my episodes about just our community as a Black community having to see it all the time and the grief that comes
Mm-hmm.
with that and kind of the PTSD behind it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you think that we move forward as a nation, if we do, especially while we already have all these emotions of COVID going on?
One of the things that I always engage in conversations with my friends about that is I really need us to all come together in some sort of way. We have got to support one another as Black people first, and then just as people once we branch out from there. But I mean, when you see it as a male, when you see that so often, it really makes you feel like you're not worth anything. It really makes you feel as if you're not worth being alive at any point in time, no matter how much success you've achieved, no matter what you've done, no matter how good of a person you've been. At any point in time, it could be snatched away from you just because of your skin color. So
Mm.
it really plays upon you not being worth anything. It really plays upon your self worth. Um, so one of the things that I say we have to have in order to do that is we've got to start coming together. Like we have to, and even piggybacking onto that, going into the social scene for my my co-parents out there. Um, if you look online, you will see. If you look in social media and go by Twitter and everything else, you will think that Black men and Black women do not like one another. Like that, we really just don't get along and don't like one another. And there are way more of us that get along than those of us that don't. But social media would definitely tell you otherwise. But for those of us that are not getting along with our brothers and our sisters, we have got to try to find some kind of common ground, because while we're infighting with each other, they're all fighting us. And that doesn't, you see the outcome of this. we're lo- we're losing in the wealth category, we're losing in the education category, like we're losing across the board. At some point, we have got to try to find some middle ground and come together as a unit. Otherwise, we in trouble. So make sure everything's still good.
Listen, I'm like, y'all good over there? Let me make sure. Look, everyone, okay, I'm on YouTube. Are y'all good on YouTube? And are y'all good on Facebook?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Y'all give me a thumbs up or yep or what up, dude. If we're all good. If we're all good, because technology.
Right.
Because
I,
technology.
I I really like those the what up though. that's,
What up, dude? It's
that's
all if
that's that's
y'all
my
can.
favorite.
Yeah, because it's that your computer hated us. Look, they said they ran. They were asking too many questions, and they ran you off. Okay,
Uh,
okay. Y'all are good on YouTube, so y'all should be good on Facebook. Let me make sure. Oh, hey, y'all, it's people on YouTube. Hello, my YouTubers. Hello, my Facebookers. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm going through all these questions because I'm not trying to have nobody call my phone like, I had a question for Justin and you did not see it, because y'all are aggressive.
calm down, calm down.
Right, y'all are aggressive. Okay, all right, let me see. Justin's echoing a bit. Oh, no, never
Am
mind.
I?
We're good. No, I
Oh,
think you're
okay.
okay, guys. All right. I'm seeing comments happening.
Okay.
This is real life, Justin. I want you to know I have two screens. I have my phone and I have like 15 different things going on. Y'all should see what's happening over here. Like I got 15 different platforms happening and I'm trying to
I'm
make
just trying to make sure my computer doesn't
sure
doesn't do what it did before.
you move that mouse, Justin.
I
Okay.
mean, look.
Just trying to make sure I see y'all's questions. Let me mute. All right, let me see. Oh, how do I mute? I got 15 different platforms.
Look at you echoing.
Right. You see me? I'm like, sorry, you guys. Okay. Oh my gosh. Now my comments aren't working. Y'all, I'm gonna figure this out.
Murphy's Law. What can will.
I said, won't he Willie? Okay, I think we're good. All right. I don't think anyone has. Do y'all have any more questions? Because I have kept Justin way longer than I told him I would. But I'm so appreciative, and I know everyone else is super appreciative. And if you guys have not listened to episode 2, please go listen. Justin was dropping bombs. I even added the bomb sound in there. Boom.
Did you? Oh, Christ.
I told you I was going to add the bomb sound. So I added the bomb sound in there. I don't think we have any questions over here. Let me make sure so y'all don't holler at me.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Renetta. But Renetta and I answered your question earlier about isolation. We talked about it. But I think that's it. I don't see any more questions unless y'all have some. I think I asked all my questions on the podcast and I asked you all the questions here. And thank you all for being active. I'm going to ask one more time. Okay, great. But Justin, thank you. You are a gem. I mean, literally, if y'all haven't listened, I basically shared the story of Justin and I met two weeks ago, maybe three.
Two and a half, 3
2 and
weeks
a
ago.
half
Yeah.
in a Georgia State group, and Justin didn't even go to Georgia State.
Never went to Georgia. I did not go to Georgia State. I really hung out there a lot in college, and apparently I was there for some formative Georgia State years. So now I'm in the Georgia State alumni group.
He's in the Georgia State alumni group, and he's not even a Georgia State alumni, but there's a whole bunch of people. My best friend, people were convinced that she went to Georgia State, and because she used to come to homecoming with me, all the stuff, and she'll rep it, and I know she on here, and she'll rep Georgia State, but she really went to HBCU. So I tell her she's a Pirate Panther because she went to Hampton, and Georgia State's the Panthers, and the Hampton's the Pirates. So I'm like, oh, so I said, so you're a Pirate Panther or a Paranther is what I call it. So it's a whole bunch of y'all, but shout out to Georgia State Alumni Group for introducing me to Justin. Justin, you have been awesome. And I tell you all the time, and I keep on telling you that you bless so many people and you just don't even know. And I'm just so thankful that you're a male and you're a therapist because, like you said, the ratio, I think a lot of people assume that you have to go to a woman therapist. But I know there's a lot of my male friends who don't necessarily feel comfortable going to a woman. So I'm so glad that you were able to come on the episode and be able to speak and just help people out. And so I have his tag here, which is on Instagram, but where can people find you if they have any more questions? Like I said, if they want to book a session with you or anything like that.
My name is also my Facebook page, Justen DeBowles LPC. That's my business page, but I mean, I get messages there too as well.
Right.
People are free to add me as a friend on Facebook. I don't,
he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I'm generally kind of laid back. I'm in therapist mode when I'm in therapist mode when I'm here. Otherwise, I'm just, regular old me. But you all can follow me at the Instagram page that's linked. You all can follow me on Facebook, things of that nature. And don't hesitate to send a message if you all have a question, you just want to talk about something. I'm a bit of an open book, and I enjoy conversation. So honestly, I don't have a problem if people just have questions about things and they want to talk. I'm down for it.
You see that, y'all? That's a gem. Opening up his inbox for you guys. Okay?
Yep.
Oh, let's see. This is what I'm talking about. See, somebody over here asking questions. I told y'all, Justin's got to go. Okay? Productivity. Was productivity touched on? I haven't listened to the podcast.
We did actually touch on productivity.
We did. Exactly. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
we
side-eyeing.
sure did.
It be your
We
own
sure
family.
did.
It be your own family. Don't listen. You see that? It be your own family, Justin.
They came tonight to get the cliff notes.
You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? You see that?
nah, they gonna have to listen to get that.
You had to listen to get all the tea
Mm-hmm.
that Justin and I was talking. It be your own family. It's not even right. But thank you guys so much for joining, being active. If you have not listened to the podcast,
Get
you
them.
can listen. You can listen anywhere. Look, I'll name them because there's so many. So you can listen on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Radio Public, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and most recently, I just got added to iHeartRadio podcasts, which I'm so excited.
Oh,
Um,
congrats. Nice.
Thank you. So I'm going to be on Pandora soon. But if you have not listened, please go listen to the episode 2. It's called Coronavirus is Getting Real. And Justin, if you imagine the bars that he dropped today, just imagine how much more you can get in the podcast. So, Justin, thank you again for being on. My loves, everyone who's on, I love you guys. Thank you for joining. And join me next week for TTSS Thursdays, which is This Too Shall Suck podcast. I am your host, Lauren Denise, and we are out. Mwah!